BTS News. The night sky over Seoul seemed darker than usual, as if holding its breath while a quiet ripple of tension began spreading beneath the city's glittering lights. The main streets were still busy, but in the narrow alleys near the HYBE building, the atmosphere was taut. Only the hurried footsteps of staff could be heard, interspersed with hushed whispers over phones. A rumor that had previously circulated only in private groups was now creeping into public forums. Jungkook's personal manager, the golden vocalist of BTS, had received a mysterious threat from an unknown source. No one knew exactly how the threat arrived, but it was enough to send the entire building into a lockdown, sealing all leaks of information by an internal source, speaking on condition of anonymity, revealed that this was no mere online message but a physical one, a letter sent to a location that was supposed to be highly confidential. The letter, according to a brief description, was typed entirely in capital letters, without a signature, and accompanied by a photo that drained the color from the staff's faces. The photo showed an unidentified man standing in a crowd, staring directly into the camera with a cold expression. At the bottom of the photo, a short sentence carried a chilling undertone. "Time is running out." Jungkook's manager, known for being friendly yet firm, was immediately taken to an emergency meeting room with several HYBE executives. CCTV footage from around the building was reviewed, and the security guard stationed at the back entrance was questioned. Yet, as the story began to spread, no one could identify anyone matching the figure in the photo. Even more unsettling, the picture had been taken at a location Jungkook had visited privately just 2 days earlier, a small cafe in the Mapo district he rarely frequented. That afternoon, Jungkook had been scheduled for choreography practice and was seen arriving early, wearing a black hoodie and a thick mask. He walked quickly into the building without glancing sideways. Fans waiting outside only managed to capture a silhouette from a distance, unaware that inside, the atmosphere had shifted into a crisis. Security doubled their presence on the floor where Jungkook was practicing, even blocking elevator access for non-essential staff. Some employees admitted they hadn't seen HYBE this tense since a major privacy breach involving another member years ago. During practice, according to someone who witnessed it, Jungkook had a brief conversation with his manager in the corner of the room, their voices low. From his expression, it was clear he was trying to reassure the man. At one point, Jungkook lightly patted his manager's shoulder as if to say everything would be fine. But when his manager stepped out to take a call, Jungkook stood staring at the floor for a long moment before resuming practice. Later that night, news of the mysterious threat leaked to the public. It began with an anonymous Twitter account posting, "Something serious is happening at HYBE tonight. Not your usual gossip. Stay safe, JK." Within minutes, the post was flooded with thousands of comments. Army worldwide began piecing together bits of information from fans on the scene. Some claimed to have seen extra security vehicles in HYBE's basement parking. Others reported hearing a short siren behind the building, and one swore they'd seen a suspicious figure quickly leaving the area around 8 p.m. What made it even stranger was HYBE's complete silence until the next morning. Usually, the company would issue a statement to calm the public, but this time they chose not to. Their silence fueled dozens of theories, from speculation about threats to Jungkook's upcoming concert, to rumors of foreign involvement, to the possibility that it was linked to a secret project known only to a select few. The next morning, media outlets began covering the story more openly. One major TV station aired security footage from the street outside HYBE the previous night. The video showed a tall man in a long coat standing across the road for nearly an hour, barely moving. His face was hidden by a mask and hat, but his posture was firm. Moments before disappearing from view, he took something from a small bag and walked away, believed to be the moment the threatening letter was delivered. Amid all this, Jungkook continued his schedule. But fans who spotted him at the airport 2 days later said he seemed quieter than usual. His eyes were puffy as if he hadn't slept well, and he only gave a brief wave before entering the departure gate. His manager was with him, his face tense and unsmiling. It was unclear whether this trip was part of his official schedule or a move to get Jungkook away from Seoul for the time being. Meanwhile, online forums tried to uncover the sender's identity. Some connected it to an old figure who once had legal disputes with HYBE, while others believed it was a warning from someone who knew too much about Jungkook's personal life. Regardless of the theory, one thing was clear. This was no idle threat, and on the third night after the incident, Jungkook went live briefly on Weverse. Without much preamble, he said, "Don't worry. I'm okay. Focus on things that make you happy." His smile was faint, his tone calm. But sharp-eyed ARMY noticed something was off. His hand repeatedly gripped the hem of his hoodie, and his eyes flicked toward the door as if making sure he was safe. The stream lasted only 8 minutes before he wished everyone good night. What fans didn't know was that same night, HYBE transferred most of Jungkook's personal schedule archives to a more secure server. Several staff members were required to sign new, stricter non-disclosure agreements TO this day. No one knows who sent the threat, what time is running out truly meant, or what the sender actually knew about Jungkook. But one thing is certain, this incident has cast a long shadow over his every step, at least for now. For ARMY, this mystery is an unfinished puzzle, and no one knows when it will be solved, or whether they will be ready for the truth when it comes. The next morning, the air in Seoul felt strange. The sun shone as usual, but the light seemed unable to cut through the lingering tension. Outside the HYBE building, the number of reporters had doubled from the day before. They came not only from Korean outlets, but also from international media that usually only appeared for major BTS events. All eyes were fixed on the main entrance, hoping for even the smallest comment from security staff. But, as expected, no one spoke. Interestingly, a freelance photographer captured someone believed to be a private investigator hired by HYBE. The man wore a black suit, dark sunglasses, and carried a thick file. He entered through a side door without speaking to anyone. An internal source revealed that HYBE had decided not to hand the case entirely over to the police, not out of distrust, but because the information in the threat was too sensitive to be made public. Jungkook remained absent from public appearances. An event he was scheduled to attend on a popular radio program was abruptly canceled without explanation. The organizers simply said his schedule had changed. ARMY began flooding social media with messages of support, sending the hashtag #StaySafeJungkook to global trending status for several hours. But beneath the show of solidarity, worry continued to grow. Down on the third floor of the HYBE building, the atmosphere was quieter than usual. The practice room, usually filled with laughter, now only played soft instrumental music. Jungkook sat in the corner, holding an untouched bottle of water. His manager entered with a troubled expression. They spoke briefly, but this time the manager's tone was more serious. There was new information he needed to share. A second threat had arrived. This time, it wasn't a letter, it was an email sent to the manager's personal account. The message was even shorter. "Don't think you can hide forever." What made it even more chilling was the attached photo, clearly taken from close range. In it, Jungkook was seen walking to his car the previous night, a photo that had never been made public. This meant the sender was close enough to take the picture, yet managed to avoid detection by security. The revelation left the room in heavy silence. Some staff began to panic, realizing the sender might not be an obsessed fan, but someone with access or the capability to monitor Jungkook's movements directly. That day, HYBE took drastic action. Jungkook was moved to an undisclosed location, known only to the core team. A black van with no company logo arrived at night, picking him up from the basement under heavy guard. A few ARMY members lingering outside caught a glimpse, but only managed to record a shadow quickly entering the vehicle.